Whoa, Luke, can you believe who's directing the new James Bond film?
Maybe someone like Christopher Nolan, that would make sense.
Yeah, because he does a load of, thrillers and stuff. That's good thinking, Luke. That's really good thinking.
And he likes white men in suit and ties, doing stuff.
He really does.
Yeah, so I'd guess him. But I really hope it's not any, foreign director. Certainly one with a French-sounding name. That's very un-James Bond, very un-British.
Un-Brexit is what it is. But Luke, I've got some terrible news from the very un-Brexit TheGuardian.com. Denis Villeneuve to direct a new James Bond film.
Okay, so, right. You said his name wrong, by the way.
How do you say it?
Because of course,
is it like Villeneuve?
There were two F1 drivers, Jacques Villeneuve and Gilles Villeneuve, who raced in F1, of course. So yeah, I know how to say his name, and nobody else does.
Well, look, if we're going to make Brexit happen, his name needs to be Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. You can't really make that's the name. You can't even make it sound British.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. But we need to do it because we can't have the French take over. I know he's from Canada, but you know what I mean. He's
spiritually French.
Yeah, he's a weird, mutated form of Frenchman, and having someone like that direct James Bond won't be good.
Well, you know what, Luke? It's not about whether or not the director's French. It's about making sure James Bond is white.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we'll settle for that.
Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past, we give them a couple of watches, and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke, and this week we are celebrating the 20-year anniversary of the release of the classic comic book movie Elektra. Is there any movie coming out currently that this is relevant to? Or
yes. Yes. Okay, right. Think about Elektra's superhero abilities, okay? She's, very good at martial arts and swords.
Yeah, she's like a magic assassin.
Yeah. So, who does that remind you of?
Fuck. Well, I really want to say Deadpool, but obviously I know it's not Deadpool. I'm just trying to think who else is really good. Fuck. Okay, are we talking Marvel? Or...
No, Michael, you're a moron. Because obviously the correct answer is Superman.
Oh, I see. Of course, that makes sense. Yeah, I understand now.
Yeah.
So that's why we're reviewing this Marvel movie to celebrate Superman.
Yeah, when I think of Superman, I think, well, who's the Marvel equivalent? And of course, Elektra is the first name that pops up in my head. Now, of course, we had to review a superhero movie because of the release of the new Superman movie. And it's Elektra's 20-year anniversary. It's one of those shitty early 2000 superhero movies, which I love to review. And so I was like, yeah, I want to do Elektra, but I can only really...
I want to do Elektra too.
I can only really pair it up, in terms of when do we review it? Well, with another superhero movie. And there are no female-led superhero movies coming out this year, which is, appalling, to be honest. But there is Superman. It's whatever. They're both superheroes.
Yeah, and you can't win them all, Luke. No. Sometimes we line up perfectly, but...
Yeah. Basically, it will do, is my philosophy here. It will do. We are reviewing Elektra because of Superman, and you may be like, well, what about the Fantastic Four? That's a Marvel property. That's coming out in about a month's time. Well, we'll be reviewing another early 2000 superhero movie with the...
the Fantastic Four.
Well, the 2005 Fantastic Four. So, yes. Obviously, we had to do Elektra here. And of course, that means we will also guess what the Rotten Tomatoes score is for Superman at the end of the review. So look forward to that. But anyway, Michael, shall we get into Elektra?
Oh, sorry. I'd love to get into her. Get into her intimate areas.
So, Elektra is a 2005. This is great. Yeah, one of the first female-led superhero movies. And
oh no, they went woke. That must be the issue.
No, well, that's the thing. We're not going woke with these jokes. So
we're not. So we're making it better.
Yeah, I guess so. So Elektra is a 2005 superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Elektra. It's directed by Rob Bowman, and it's a spin-off from the film Daredevil.
Yes, which we have reviewed.
We have reviewed.
Shout out. That's Synergy.
Yes, the 2003 movie Daredevil, which of course features Elektra, and considering how bad that movie was and how underwhelming it did at the box office, it's crazy to think that, let's do a spin-off from that movie for a very... not really well-known character, shall we say, which of course Elektra is. I'd say that's fair. She of course does appear in a movie which grossed $1.3 billion, So that's good for her.
Yes.
Or the character, you know.
Yeah, she just needed a man to help her out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's directed by Rob Bowman, written by Zach Penn, Stuart Zickerman, and M. Raven Metzner. And of course, based on the comic book character by Frank Miller. It stars Jennifer Garner, Goran Vilsnolic. I mean, that's just a ridiculously hard name to say.
Oh, he should direct James Bond, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's Croatian. That's interesting because he has an American accent. This is the dad, Mark Miller. That's the character.
Oh.
That's the character's name. He has an American accent, but a few times it sounds a bit foreign. And I was like, well, that's a bit weird. And he's Croatian, so there you go. Not a good performance. If a few times I was like, wait, that doesn't sound American. So yeah, not a good actor. I'm kidding. We have Will Yun Lee. Can you guess what character he played?
Well, there are several Asians in here, but I guess like the main evil Asian.
No, he played them all.
Okay, that makes sense.
We have Keri Hiroyuki Tagawa.
Ah, so she can't sing as that other guy played all the Asians. I guess she must have played the daughter.
No, this guy's a guy.
Oh wait, hold a minute. Kerry Yaguta Baba is a guy.
What?
For some reason, I like that sounds like such a woman's name.
That's why.
Kerry.
Yeah, it's like Carey, like Cary.
Cary. Okay,
yeah.
like yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And by the way, that racist thing you just did with,
that's like not getting his name right at all.
That's why I read out the names and not you.
Yeah, that's useful.
It also stars Terence Stamp. There you go. Nice, easy name, Terence Stamp. There we go. So it was released on January the 14th, 2005. Again, you got a great movie on your hands when you release it in the middle of January. And Michael, can you guess the budget for Elektra?
30. Well, okay, so the thing is, I said it feels very cheap. I still think they probably put like some amount of money in it because they, like you say, like it was from a movie that grossed a whole load of money. But I don't think they could have spent that much money because it looks so cheap. So I'm going to say 30 million.
Okay, 43 to 65. What about the box office?
I'm going to say this movie made like, oh shit, no, I don't know. Fuck. I'm just going to kind of play it safe and say 120 million.
I am consistently surprised by your stupidity.
Good.
On a lot of things. Why would you think it would make that much?
It's because, like, well, I don't know, maybe I'm being stupid. In my head, I'm like, well, if Daredevil made a load of money, then, like, if like, the...
Okay,
if,
right.
Like, the marketing was saying this was the sequel to Daredevil, then people would want to go see it.
It's not the sequel to Daredevil, is it?
Yeah, but I thought they might lie. It's all.
Daredevil is not in this movie.
I thought maybe they'd lie and like kind of like say, from the story of Daredevil continues. People are like, oh, I went to go see Daredevil. I kind of thought they might do that.
Yeah, because everybody loved Daredevil, didn't they?
Well, like there was still like it, like sure, maybe only 10% of people went to see it, but that's still a lot of people. That's all I'm saying.
What do you mean?
More than 0 people.
10% of what the other
like 10% of people who went to see. Well, 10% of people who went to see Daredevil, if they went to go see Elektra, then that's that's still a considerable drop. But it's still some number.
How many? Do you know the gross for Daredevil?
I don't know.
I believe it was about 130 million.
Okay, sorry. If I would have known that, I would have radically changed. Can I have a...
so it's 180 million, sorry. So what's...
Okay, so if Daredevil was 180 million, which I didn't know, for some reason I thought...
What did you think Daredevil was?
I don't know why. I thought it was like over 500 million. I'm not sure.
What the fuck is the matter with you?
I thought that was... I don't know why. For some reason, that's what I thought it was.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I thought you told me that. Yeah, I thought that when we reviewed it, you told me it was 500 million. Is that not right?
No, so
okay, let's go. Okay, so knowing that, I would say this movie made like 40, maybe 50. Let's say 50 million, whatever.
Okay,
it possibly made even less than that.
So
but yeah,
Elektra made 57 million.
Okay, so you know what? Like the thing is, really, my mistake was more just that I got, and to be honest, I probably got the budget for Daredevil wrong. Oh, sorry, the box office for Daredevil wrong. Like when we actually reviewed it. So essentially, all I've done is get the box office for Daredevil wrong twice.
Yes. Why did you think it was so high?
I don't know. I just thought because lots of people know about Daredevil, I guess.
What movie were you confusing it with?
I don't know. Like maybe X-Men.
Because maybe. I mean, they're pretty different. But because surely if it grossed that much, it would get a sequel.
Yes, you're right. And I didn't. You're yes. Anyway, but the important thing is that once I realized how Daredevil did not gross that much, I then got Elektra right. So let's focus on that.
Okay. Great. Anyway,
the thing is, often I will ask oh, how much did the previous film gross? And for some reason, this time I didn't do that.
Okay, yeah, just I didn't understand how your brain works sometimes. But anyway, let us get on to whether we liked Elektra or not. So, Michael, did you like Elektra?
I loved it. No, so this movie, it's it's kind of surprisingly boring. It's a very small movie, which I was quite surprised by. Like, there's a lot of just, like, they're hanging out in that place, and then, I'm glad you sent me notes, because I'm really struggling to remember what happened, because basically, the movie literally is just, it almost feels like the entire movie is just a handful of scenes, where she's, like, by a lake. Like, first of all, she's like, okay, she does some, like, assassinating stuff, then she's by a lake, then she does some more assassinating stuff, and that's it, that's the movie. So, no, the answer is no, but yeah, like, the really crazy thing for me is I was just like, this is, like, such a just minimal movie in terms of, like, what's actually happening and the substance of it. Like, I was expecting it to be more wacky and zany, but it was a bad movie.
I didn't think it was as bad as people said, honestly.
I was kind of thinking that too, actually.
Yeah, like, it's directed competently. There's some nice shots in it. It actually looks good, to be honest, most of the time. It does actually look good, but that's because there's not a lot of action set pieces, to be honest, or they're not that complicated, so maybe they could afford to spend time on making sure the movie did look kind of good, because it does. There's not any awful CGI in it either, like Catwoman, for instance. But yeah, I was surprised at how unshit this movie was, to be honest with you, but it is still kind of boring, and it still doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the main issue is it's boring.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense a lot of the time. And you know what? Again, you were right. They went for a small approach, and the director talked about how they had to kind of do it. Because I think it makes sense given Elektra's like backstory in the comics. It's not a big story. Her origin story is like a small story. So if you're going to replicate that, it makes sense to just not alter things too much. But at the same time, it means you can make it kind of competent because, again, you're not pushing the boat out that much. But at the same time, it means that you're relying a lot on getting invested in this character of Elektra and her character arc and the development of this character. And I'm not invested in this character, and that's the main issue. Like, they did try to make it like a character arc superhero movie, which you could say a lot of superhero movies are like that, and to be fair, that is the case sometimes, but they really went for it. It's mainly all about Elektra and her relationship, of course, with this girl, Abby, who, of course, is like the stand-in for, young, or represents her younger self to some extent. But the problem is, they just didn't do a good job really with the character arc, and I think the main issue is
that's my beef too.
Yeah, at the start of the movie, and it could have been quite good. It could have been like kind of an underrated movie. I still don't think it's as bad as people say. Again, it's not shit, but it's just kind of shit. Which is, again, quite different from, like, for instance, Daredevil.
Daredevil was, like, off the wall and, like, bizarre.
Yeah, Daredevil was a bit crazy.
Same with Catwoman.
Yeah, exactly. Catwoman, the Fantastic Four, just all, like, kind of schlocky shit. That isn't the case with this movie. And, that means that, again, you're watching it and you think, this is not that bad. But it also means you're watching it and thinking, well, it's also more boring than the rest of those three movies. That is the trade-off. We'll still try and make it entertaining, this review. So we'll get into it. So how many nitpicks do you have?
I've got just one.
Okay, I've got a nitpick and a lit pick, but you go first.
So my nitpick is just so Jennifer Gardner. She's not in any good movies, right? Like, she's just in, like, she's the main character in this one movie that's not very great. And then I was like, looking at her, and I was thinking, is this actress ever been in a good movie? And I looked it up, and as far as I can tell, no. So that's just crazy, isn't it? Poor Jennifer Gardner.
Yeah.
And she's not even that hot, despite our comments.
I mean,
like, I'm not saying, like, 2 out of 10 would not bang. I'm just saying,
Yeah, I don't think she's that bad, to be honest.
She's got a very masculine jaw.
Yes, I think Family Guy made a joke about that. Yeah.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
Yeah.
So I just stole it from them.
Oh no, was it about Reese Witherspoon instead?
No, so Reese Witherspoon definitely. Like, they made fun of her jaw.
Yeah. Anyway, so let us get into my... Well, actually, to be honest, they're both lit picks. I don't have...
look, I just looked up Jennifer Gardner, and, oh god, so you probably can't, but if you look up Jennifer Gardner Family Guy on Google Images, you get a fantastic... image that comes up, which I have just sent you, and I don't know, like, if you think it's funny, I can include it in the edit, but...
I mean, no, you can do that. I'm fine with that. Yeah, sure, go for it.
I just think, like, that's not fair.
Well,
I would say that's not, like, I said she's not that attractive, but...
The issue is, like, her ears aren't that big. Like,
exactly, like, I would not, like, that doesn't stand out about her to me.
I've just seen her face for, like, 90 minutes, and I didn't come away with, oh yeah, her ears, they're crazy. But certainly the chin and the jaw. Yeah, I mean, that's why she's an actress, because all of them have strong jawlines. But anyway, my again, I really have two nitpicks, to be honest. My first one is, of course, that she appeared in the 2024 movie, which was Deadpool and Wolverine, which is the highest grossing R-rated movie ever, of course. And yeah, I do wonder how many people who watched that movie had seen the 2005 Elektra, or even knew it existed, to be honest. I don't know, but it's just kind of funny how low-key this movie is, how forgotten it is, and then this character plays a pivotal role in the highest grossing R-rated movie ever, and one of the highest grossing superhero movies ever as well. So that's quite fun. And then my other lit pick is, of course, well, just because we're watching this movie, I had to think back to the Daredevil movie, of course, where Elektra makes an appearance, or several appearances, of course, and there are some iconic scenes with her. The basketball scene is Catwoman. What's she?
The only thing I remember her doing is like she cuts up a load of bags, and it plays like Evanescence, right?
Yes, that was what I was going to mention. That was the best bit from the movie. It's like, wake me up inside, can't wake up, and Elektra's just cutting all these sandpaper. No, it's not sandpaper. Fucking just sandbags. That's it.
Yeah, they don't really do any like new metal in this. Like alt rock stuff in this.
No, again, and that makes it a bit more boring, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that's the trade-off. But yeah, again, I will never forget that moment from Daredevil starring Elektra, of course. So let's get into the plot, Michael.
Elektra Nachos, the warrior. Is that like a joke, or is that her actual name? I can't remember.
What do you mean?
Like nachos? Like is the name actually nachos?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Elektra Nachos, the warrior survives. I thought I was like, is that is that supposed to be like a pun or something?
It's Elektra Nachos.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so I was gonna say I thought like because it doesn't sound very Greek to me. Anyway, Elektra Nachos,
because it's
the warrior,
it's a Spanish or Hispanic thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Survives a near-death experience, becomes an ass-in for hire, and tries to protect her two latest targets: a single father and his young daughter, from a group of supernatural assassins who were fired by the evil Hand, who are Asian. That is the plot, Luke. Speaking of Asians, you kind of reminded me of something when you said this movie isn't that bad. There was something I was thinking about. So, as you know, when I was on holiday, I decided to watch a load of Asian cinema.
So you watched this movie then?
Yeah, exactly. No, but the thing is, like a lot of the movies I happened to come upon, they were recommended by ChatGPT, and. They were like about like it was kind of like the movie would be called like The Quiet Samurai or something like that, and like a lot of the movies were just like this guy who like lives in a hut, and then he'll just be like, oh, I was once a samurai but those days are behind me, and then like someone would show up like, I need your help to deal with this criminal enterprise, and then he'd like come out of retirement, and then like basically that what I just described takes up like an hour and a half of the movie, and then like the final 20 minutes is that he shows up and then he just kills them all, and that's the end of the film. And like I did kind of enjoy those movies, but I thought, am I just being a weeb, because maybe actually this is exactly that movie, except instead of being a stoic looking Asian man, it's a white woman. And I'm saying, oh, now it's boring. So that's just my thing, To be fair, like I'm not such a weeb. Like I rated those movies like 6 and 7s out of 10.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, they're pretty good. I wasn't like this is 10 out of 10 peak cinema. But then I thought, well, this movie, I wouldn't consider this movie a 6 or 7 out of 10. And maybe if Elektra was like an Asian person and the movie was called like The Assassin and it was directed by I was gonna say Bong Joon-ho, who's whatever, it doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah, like directed by one of those Chinese directors, then I would be like, oh, this is actually really cinematic.
Yeah,
but I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, of course, it's set in the modern day, and yeah, of course, it's based on a fucking superhero. She's a super.
Yeah, so it is ultimately cape shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's tainted by that cape shit stuff. And you could say, well, what about Batman? That's not cape shit. Well, the Christopher Nolan Batman's, it's like, oh, that's gritty and realistic. Yeah, I guess so. But this movie, again, it has like when the fucking villains die, they explode into like green gas.
Yeah, I was like, that's so weird.
Yeah, so and yeah, it's got some schlocky elements which kind of prevents the the serious stoic superhero kind of.
It can't ascend.
Yeah, it can't ascend to that vibe as you described. But yeah, I think ultimately the issue is with this movie, again, you're trying to make this movie all about Elektra's character arc, and it's not a bad idea, of course, because she's kind of a shit superhero. There's low stakes in the movie, so okay, let's make it about her. Let's make it a character arc movie, and it means we need to get invested in her character. And the issue is there are there are so many flashbacks to her when she was a kid, and also her when she's training with Stick, which is a great name. Maybe that's what makes it kind of schlocky as well, the fact that they have a character named fucking Stick, who's white as well. But yeah, there's not enough actual backstory with Elektra. You have again these flashbacks, particularly with Stick. To be honest, like again, it just seems ridiculous saying his name.
So
out loud.
let me just clarify. Stick is her agent, right?
Oh, you're such a fucking retard, honestly.
I can't remember any of it. What was the agent's name?
How can you forget the fact that he's fucking called Stick? What is wrong with you?
What's the agent's name?
It's McCabe, I think.
Oh my god, they were such weird names. That's a bad name too, I would say.
McCabe. Well, it's not fucking Stick, is it?
It's not Stick, you're right.
Okay,
yeah, so I remember who... Yeah, Stick. I completely didn't even pick up his name was Stick, I'm not going to lie. But maybe it's because I just assumed they were talking about... Because he's... Like, maybe I just thought that... Because he's like the guy who plays, like... he's playing pool in a scene, right? Maybe I just assumed, like, that was his, like, pooling nickname. Okay. Like, because he plays pool with a stick.
Right. Well, yeah, because, yeah, everybody plays pool with a different kind of object.
Exactly.
He chooses to play pool with a stick, which is really weird. So it makes sense that he'd get the nickname Stick, because you don't see that often. But yeah, again, from the moment we meet her, Elektra, she's cold and boring, and you could say, oh no, that means she's stoic. But we don't again get to know her character at all. What should happen is we should have extended flashbacks with her character when she's with Stick. That would make sense. Or we just have the movie start with her. Why is she the way she is? We should get like a 10-15 minute intro with her, or a few scenes with, again, Stick at this martial arts training camp, wherever the fuck they are. We should get that, and that would, I think, help in terms of like, we're now invested in this character.
Yeah, look, I actually do agree. Like, it's kind of like, and I think for me the big issue is, and I don't want to jump ahead, but I just want to say the fact that like. This movie would work if it was kind of like, and the film I'm thinking of is Unforgiven, starring Clint Eastwood, but essentially like a movie where it's kind of like a man with no name type of movie, where it's kind of like, oh, this person's just plopped into this scenario and like they just like basically the story is happening around them and they're just like a force of nature, which is like a thing you often see in like Western and kind of martial arts movies. The problem is it doesn't work here because she is supposed to be, like you said, her character arc is a big part of the film. And I do think that with that said, you do need a backstory where it's like, okay, we understand where she's coming from. Yeah. This movie, it's kind of like it tries to do both things almost. Like it tries to have her be this kind of mysterious, enigmatic character we don't really know that much about, but at the same time we need to know a bit about her because a lot of what happens is motivated by her character. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's it. You can't have it both ways, can you? And that is the issue. So yeah, like okay, we're doing a movie about her character arc, Elektra, becoming basically human and recognizing the good in herself. Okay, well, if we start off, with her failing at doing that, getting kicked out, and of course we see in a flashback that she gets kicked out, but it's not really impactful when it's like a 30-second flashback. Again, a proper like a few opening scenes where she gets kicked out, and then, okay, we now understand her character more, and we can get invested in this arc. And the movie is only 95 minutes long, so you could have added another 15 minutes onto this movie quite easily. But again, maybe the low budget contributed to that, I'm not sure. But anyway, let's get into the development, Michael.
Yes. In 1987, after the success of Frank Miller's Elektra Ass In, Marvel tried to adapt the graphic novel, into a live-action movie. Director Oliver Stone signed on to direct and wanted volleyball player, model and actress Gabrielle Reese to star as Elektra. The project was cancelled after the rights to Elektra was sold to Fox, so that sounds like it could have been a better movie. Let me look at how attractive Gabrielle Reese is.
Okay, and that's what's interesting to you.
Oh, she also has she has a strong jawline too.
Well,
so,
yeah. I guess the character Elektra looks like that, so that would make sense. They're trying to cast somebody who looks like Elektra. But yeah, I think that it's just interesting. Oliver Stone, who of course has made some very interesting movies. Yes. Very serious movies. Of course, he made JFK. Shout out, Oliver Stone for that. And, you can't imagine him directing like a schlocky superhero movie, but that's the thing. The graphic novel from Frank Miller was very good, and so okay, let's get a serious director to do this. And I guess, well, based on what I think happened, they were always going to make an Elektra movie after Daredevil, but they kind of, I don't think the studio actually wanted to do it in the end. We were like, oh yeah, because there was
it felt like an obligation.
Yeah, well, it was an obligation. Jennifer Garner was contracted to do it, and I imagine they had to put some money up for it as well. They agreed to make this movie, etc., etc. So yeah,
and that's a really sad thing, but it's like shocking how often it happens. It's kind of like the thing with like the Amazing Spider-Man, where there was like a contractual obligation. It's like it's really weird. It's almost like everyone in the cinema has ADHD, where like as soon as they conceive it as an obligation, it's almost like impossible for them to actually make a good story. And it's like, surely, take it as a challenge. Like, be like, oh, we've got to do this thing. Let's try and make it the best we can.
Well, we've talked a bit about, misogyny and why this movie failed as well. So let's get into all that, because of course this was a female-led superhero movie.
Absolutely. So film critic Scott Mendelsohn, not Mendeldorfer, I'll note, blamed the film for ruining Jennifer Garner's career and said it killed off the notion of a female-led superhero movie for a decade. In an email released because of the Sony hack, Marvel Entertainment CEO Ike Perlmutter cited Elektra as an example of an unprofitable female-led superhero film. He wrote, "Very bad idea, and the end result was very, very bad." Yeah, so obviously that's very dumb, because you can make good movies and bad movies. Like, the problem is, I mean, the weird thing about that is Daredevil also was not considered a very good movie, and while it wasn't like profitable, or like while it was more profitable, it was still bad.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. And I just love that quote because it sounds a lot like Trump. It's like,
oh yeah, that's it.
Very bad idea. The result, very, very bad.
Very, very bad.
Very, very bad.
Female superheroes are not sending their best.
It took 12 years to make another female superhero movie after this one.
Okay, now Luke, what was that movie?
Well, I know. Do you know?
So, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
2017.
So why did you say it like that?
Because I had to think about it.
Okay, yeah.
I had to do the maths.
And that was a really good movie up until the third act, honestly.
She crushed it. She refused to kill the main woman, and then she threw the tank directly at a child, which was shocking.
Wait, what?
There were like a bunch of kids with sticks and stuff.
Oh.
And they were like really hungry, and she like threw a tank at them.
Yeah, you're making a joke about Gal Gadot. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, that movie did well at the box office. And then Captain Marvel, of course, did very well in 2019. And again, I think it shows, to be honest, that female-led superhero movies can be successful. But then you have like Catwoman and Elektra, which are quite bad from this era, so it spooked a lot of people. But then again, Daredevil was quite bad as well.
Yeah, like this was an era of bad comic book movies, so really you can't learn anything from this era.
Yeah, and the issue is, and here's the big reason, the whole female-led superhero movies aren't as successful as male-led superhero movies. Well, the big issue with that conversation is why it's a dumb conversation is, guess what? There are a lot more male superheroes than female superheroes. It's like probably 80% to 20%. And what that means is, and I'm talking about like actual like superheroes that you could actually have a movie about. Of course, there was like there's Black Widow. That came after the after Avengers Endgame, and that did quite well at the box office, considering it was a COVID year. But of course, that character had been built up over several movies, so everyone knew Black Widow. But if you tried to make a Black Widow superhero movie at the start of the Avengers, before the first Avengers, it would have done quite badly, because nobody knows who the fuck she is, or did know. And that's the difference between a lot of female superhero movies and male superhero movies, like Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. Fuck it, like those are the big three. They're all male.
The Flash is also, I would say, more famous than more famous than Wonder Woman, but
the Flash, the Hulk, Captain America, even. Like
Iron Man.
Well, yeah, kind of Iron Man. Iron Man wasn't that big until...
He wasn't as famous yet. Yeah, Spider-Man. You haven't said that yet, have you?
No, I did.
Wait, you did say that, didn't you? Yes, of course you did. Because you said Superman, Batman, Spider-Man are the big three.
Yeah. So basically, if you look at the top 10 superheroes, maybe 2 of them are women, and one of them is definitely Wonder Woman. Like, she's the only proper household name. Yeah.
What about Starfire?
Well, again, there you go. So it's just, there wasn't a lot of famous female superheroes that were, created back in the 60s or 50s or whenever these, superheroes were created. They were mostly male. So, at the box office, they're probably not going to, do that well, because they lack name recognition. I mean, who would have heard of Elektra before the movie came out? Like, she's probably half as famous as Daredevil, and Daredevil isn't even that famous. So that's the thing. You can only bank on, like, back in the day, you could only bank on superheroes who actually, people knew about. And even Catwoman. Like, Catwoman's like a sidekick of Batman. You know,
Mm.
like she's not even like a superhero in her own right. So yeah, that's the whole issue, and I think again that's why Elektra was doomed to fail because nobody had heard of her. You know, like you can't generate a box office success if you're relying on name recognition and nobody knows the name.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing here, by the way, is you're saying that we should just gender swap a more popular character so everyone will already be aware of them.
Yes, exactly. That's what we should do. So again,
Yeah, it seems like there's no solution to this problem.
well, the solution is, to basically build up, female superhero characters. I mean, I don't really care that much, to be honest. It's not that big a deal. I don't, I don't lose sleep at night because female-led superhero movies don't do that well at the box office. But
because it is still Cape Shit, so it's worth noting it's actually good that we don't have any female-led superhero movies.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, you need to make them famous, and then people will be invested, and you can rely on that name recognition. Like the new Superman movie. People are going to go in droves to that because everyone knows Superman. And, the reviews are good. It's looking like it's going to be a good movie. And I think they're doing Supergirl next year. And I think that'll be quite popular as well. Not as popular as Superman, but, people have heard of Supergirl. That's a common enough name in the zeitgeist.
When are they doing Superdog? Crypto, because we need to find out how good dog-based movies are.
Yeah, well, maybe one day we'll find out. But yeah, the point is, you can't criticize female superhero movies if you're relying on Elektra to do really well at the box office, because that's never going to happen.
Yeah, I would hope that they weren't even that invested. Oh, like you say, it was an obligation, so I guess they weren't expecting it to be that good in the first place. Because I was like, yep, we just got to make it. So that's maybe another good explanation for why it did badly, apart from that it had a woman in it. Anyway, director Rob Bowman knew that the production time was going to be short and they would be limited in what they could achieve, but thought that critics would appreciate what he was able to do with the relatively small $43 million budget. That's interesting because while this movie is it does have people exploding into big green clouds, which did probably require some effects, I would say that this movie does not feel like it is trying to make the most out of a $43 million budget to me.
Well, yeah, 43 million wasn't that low, to be honest. But again, superhero movies require CGI, so it's a different bar. But yeah, again, you're trying to do a character arc movie for a 90 because again only 95 minutes. You're trying to do this character arc, and it's an action movie with some superhero schlock thrown in. So there you go. That's why it failed.
Yeah, the lesson is never try.
Yeah, that was literally the lesson until Wonder Woman.
Anyway, let's actually get into the script. So, there's an ancient battle between good and evil going on like always, and there's a prophecy that applies to the main character of the movie. Yeah, this is I'd say it's pretty unique actually for a superhero movie to have good versus evil.
Yeah.
Usually they're very nuanced.
So that's the thing, again, it's just very generic. Even when there's a female superhero, it's the same thing. There's a battle between good and evil, there's this prophecy, etc. And again, that's kind of more supernatural perhaps, but of course it still applies to some superheroes, But yeah, it's just a very boring setting, to be honest. You've got the good guys and you've got the bad guys. And why the hand? That's what they're called, of course. Why the hand, the bad guys? Because they're Asian. But
yeah, I literally I had no concept of what the substance was of the bad guys as bad guys.
Yeah,
that was the thing that most of all made me feel like I wasn't paying attention to the movie, because they just appear and I'd be like, wait, so what are these guys like? What's their motivation? What do they have an evil plan? Do they have some scheme or something?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. In a high stakes movie, they'd be trying to use the girl to get do some plan, blow up something or whatever.
Well, it's interesting because you've mentioned already the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, and of course in that movie you have are they called the League of Shadows?
Yeah,
they're called the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yeah, so obviously there, that's pretty basic, right? You it's actually kind of insane how similar it is, in that you have this Batman's kind of raised like an assassin, a ninja assassin, by the League of Shadows, and then he breaks away from them, and then they come back to haunt him, and they have this evil plan. But the difference is that movie, you actually understand what's going on. So they should have just copied what they were doing over at DC, because these movies came out at the exact same time.
Well, that movie is longer, which is good. Again, if you want to include the backstory to the hand, you need it to be longer than 95 minutes, and you want to include a character arc as well. And there was more of a budget, just more of an effort in general to make sure that movie was good. So again, that's the difference between Batman Begins and this movie.
And there was a man in the lead role. I think you forgot that. Yes. Yeah. So after being killed, Elektra Natchios is revived by a blind martial arts master, Stick, which is, and this is an interesting note, a nickname given to him based on his enthusiasm for playing pool. No, not really, it says, which is his real name. He teaches her the ancient art of kimaguri, which provides its practitioners with precognition as well as the ability to resurrect the dead. So it's just like martial arts, but magic. I was trying to combine magic and martial arts, and I couldn't do it. I'm sorry.
I like gym and karate, gymnastics and karate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jim Carter, Madge Carter.
Yeah. So why was she revived in the first place?
Yeah, I was thinking that seemed unnecessary. Like, I was like, we don't know this woman. What's the relevance of her being dead and then alive?
Well, no, we do know this woman because it's a spin-off to Daredevil. She dies.
Okay, yeah. We don't care about this woman.
Okay, well, she dies in Daredevil, and she's brought back to life by this guy who we, of course, have not seen in Daredevil. So why did he revive her? That is not explained. And he does it twice, of course. He does it later on in this movie as well. Why did he do this?
Yeah. Also, and again, you might have to tell me, I'm right in saying that basically there's no limitation to that ability, is there, that's established, such that it basically means there's no real stakes for the movie.
Yeah.
Because she could basically be revived at any point.
Well, yeah, he needs to be near her, I guess. But yeah, I guess, if he finds her, then it's all okay. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe there's a time limit. I don't know. But yeah, I just want to know why, again, because it's, from what we get from the movie, Stick, again, it's such a stupid name, did not know Elektra until after Elektra was revived. Like, before Elektra died, Stick did not know her, I think, is what I got from the movie. So why would he resurrect her? Like, what's his motivation here?
He could sense her chi.
Oh, he could sense.
She has the chi.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Again, that's not explained at all. And why would she not just go back to Ben Affleck in New York?
Yeah, so Elektra is expelled from the training compound because of her inability to let go of her rage and fear of seeing her mother's killer as a child. She leaves and uses her training to become a contract killer. So yeah, this is like the classic thing. You go rogue. Like, I guess this happens in Kill Bill, probably. I can't really remember.
Well,
but yeah, like, someone's trained and they have the training ability, but then they can't just be constrained by the man.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is barely explained in the movie. And this is what is on Wikipedia, by the way, that explanation. But that is completely glossed over in the movie, all of this backstory, which, again, would be interesting if you want to, establish the character and why she is where she is in her life. It makes sense to have some scenes basically going over this, but no, we don't see that.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. Yeah, and I suppose that's kind of the problem with this film in a way. There's a fundamental problem at the center of it, which is we don't really care about this character, we don't know much about her, which means we don't care about her, which kind of means everything else. Because if that problem was solved, everything else would pretty much fall in place.
Oh yeah,
but
it would be.
It's not.
It would be a lot better. It needs those foundations. Yeah. But you are wrong, by the way. We do know about this character, but we just have to read it off Wikipedia. That's a good point. That's what we have to do. Yeah.
Yeah, or read the comics. Years later, Elektra's agent, McCabe, receives an unusually large offer from a client, but she must spend a few days in a rented home on an island before the assassination targets are revealed. Yeah, so this is interesting because it puts her in a position of solitude. She's just
good. Pissing around in this mansion for a few days. That's great.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a bit unnecessary considering the movie is so short. I don't really know if it almost feels a little bit like filler. I guess the reason why they do it is so that she can get to know
obviously
the targets.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is obviously when she meets them, you just immediately obviously they're going to be the people she's supposed to assassinate.
Okay, yeah, we'll get
it's very predictable.
We'll get onto that in a sec. I just want to ask, by the way, do assassins have agents?
I was thinking that too. It was really funny when he said he's her agent.
Yeah, is she an athlete? Yeah, it's very weird. I don't know if that's the case. I get you. You have somebody telling you, oh, we want you here and to kill this person, but they're not your agent. That implies she's an athlete or she's like a, in the entertainment industry or something.
Yeah, I would agree. It kind of obviously there's John Wick where they have this whole structure for how assassins work, but they don't really establish any meta logic here. During the wait, Elektra catches a girl named Abby trying to steal her mother's necklace. She sends her away and later meets and befriends her father, Mark Miller. Abby invites Elektra to Christmas dinner on Mark's behalf. Yeah, what a sad Christmas dinner. It was really weird to me that they had it be Christmas.
Yeah,
she's maybe it's got nothing to do with Christmas.
She does not really befriend Mark Miller either, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, like basically she just establishes they're kind of decent people.
Yeah.
Or like she establishes that the father and daughter seem to like each other.
Yeah.
Which should be pretty standard.
Yeah, and again, what I found honestly with this Wikipedia entry, because I'm going through Wikipedia to send you stuff to say, like Wikipedia just either spells out what happens in the plot and just reveals twists, basically, just nonchalantly, like it does not care. And then it also like adds stuff in which I'm not sure is the case. Like for instance here, like oh yeah, like she befriends Mark Miller, does she? Well, not really, not at first. She doesn't shake her hand. She doesn't shake his hand. Sorry.
No.
Of course. So yeah, it's not really friendly. But yeah, the whole first like 30 minutes are just boring because I've got a lot of her in this mansion, and then she goes over to have Christmas dinner, and those scenes are not great either. So yeah, again, the twist to happen, this needs to be set up, but yeah, it's just not exciting or entertaining.
No, yeah. And speaking of things happening, Elektra develops a romantic interest in Mark, but learns that he and Abby are the targets she has been hired to kill. Elektra spares them and leaves. Yeah, so I don't like either of these things. I don't like the fact that she develops a romantic interest, because it just feels like I feel like one of the problems is, going back to the whole women-led movies thing, or women-led superhero movies, is like it seems like it's way more important for that they have a romantic interest, and the romantic interest tends. And I know it's weird because you could say, well, Spider-Man and Batman and Superman, they do have like romantic stuff going on, but here it's kind of just like it feels much more obligatory, and maybe that's just because it's a bad movie in general.
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I mean, she's like,
maybe I'm just being like woke and like maybe I'm just saying because it's a woman, I'm like, oh, it's sexist.
I can imagine this happening in a bad movie. Like,
in general.
She kisses him a couple of times. The romance isn't established at all. That's kind of a bad movie thing. That could happen in any bad movie.
Well, in that case, I'll let the movie off.
Yeah, let's talk about the twist, which is, of course, she is going to have to assassinate these two.
Oh my god, it's such a twist.
Yeah, well...
I couldn't sit... I was on the edge of my seat in anticipation.
That's the thing. They're the only two people on the island. Like, if she met a bunch of other people on the island, again, this is what I'm talking about, putting a bit more effort into the movie, then it'd be like, oh, maybe she's not going to assassinate these two characters that she's met and spent time with, and those are the only ones she's met and spent time with while she's on this island.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing is, like, for me, the moment where it became like, oh, she's like not going to kill them, it was the moment where I like became very much less invested in the movie, because the problem is, she is a contract killer, and that means presumably she's had to kill loads and loads of people before, probably plenty of people who've had like wives and families and kids, so it kind of just makes me like dislike her even more, because I can respect a contract killer who just has the integrity of being like, you know what, I know that I'm probably killing a lot of people who don't deserve to die, who, like, killing them causes tragedy, but that's like the job, and I accept that. But like when she's like, oh, now I'm not going to do it because I know this guy personally, it just makes it seem like it's like one of those people who like eats meat all the time, but then like they can't handle the fact that like as soon as they like see a cute little lamb, they're like, oh, I'm never going to eat meat again. Lisa Simpson. It's just it suggests a lack of integrity that bothers me. Which again, it would have been fine if like there's a way they could have elaborated on a character that would make this better. But as it was, I was just like, okay, so she's basically just like she's almost like a NIMBY, but it's instead of it's not in my backyard, it's not in my emotional connection.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as it affects her, she's like, oh no, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
What a horrible woman.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're going to get into this, so you kind of skipped ahead, but read the next bit, yeah.
So, Elektra returns in time to protect Mark and Abby from assassins sent by The Hand, a crime syndicate of evil Asian ninja mercenaries. Yeah. And that's the worst kind of crime syndicate.
So, who hired Elektra in the first place? It was Stick, of course. Which such a dumb name. Right, because he needed to test Elektra and see if he'd kill a father and a motherless daughter. It's like herself, basically.
Although, if anything, that should make it easier because there's no one to miss them.
Maybe that's true. Yeah. But yeah, Stick wanted to prove that Elektra was good, but what if it backfired?
Well, she did do it. Then he can just kill her. I don't know. Yeah.
Or maybe he can revive these two. But yeah, it's just quite funny. Like, oh yeah, she almost killed an innocent child, but luckily, she didn't do it because she's actually good, even though she's just, like you said, been killing people indiscriminately for ages now.
It is like so disappointing. Like, it's kind of. I mean, that like thing of like, oh, it was like a twist. Like, there's a point at which twists become very lazy when the twist just becomes, oh, it was like a trick or a test.
Yeah.
And like when you find out that's the case, it's like, okay, so it doesn't really have to be like any explanation for anything then. If like it's just it's a twist.
What if the kid did not invite her for dinner?
Yeah, he wouldn't, like, that's the thing, it's incredibly coincidental
Yeah.
that she even gets to know them at all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Abby wasn't a part of this plan. Neither was fucking Mark Miller. You know, they didn't know what was going on. Like, what if they just stayed away from her? Like, okay, you have to spend 2 days living next to them. You could just ignore them for a couple of days and then just, all right, I'm going to kill them. So yeah, again, it's kind of a smart thing to do, but also if you think about it, the flaws become quite obvious, honestly. So yeah, it's one of those things where the movie thinks it's being clever, and it almost is, but then you just look beneath the surface, and there's a lot of issues with this plan, and yeah, it's not even like schlocky, it's not even like dumb in a funny way. It's just kind of boringly dumb is the issue. So yeah, let's move on and talk about Jennifer Garner.
Yes. So Garner reportedly did not want to do the film and only did it because she was legally required due to contractual obligations from Daredevil. Ben Affleck reprised his role as Matt Murdock / Daredevil in a cameo appearance, but it was cut from the final film. The scene was included on the DVD as a deleted scene. Oh wow, I wonder what that's like. I'm sure it's really great.
I've seen
So he literally chose to be, or was that contractually? I like to imagine he was there for moral support.
Yeah, well, I've seen that.
Yeah, is it good deleted scene?
I've seen the deleted scene and it's not good. Okay. He's not even there. So it's when she's like asleep and then she wakes up and she because she has visions throughout the movie, and she has a vision of Daredevil or Matt Murdock, and he says something like "come home" or something, "come back," and then he just disappears, and then of course she wakes up. Like he's in the movie for like 10 seconds. I don't know why it was cut. Maybe because Daredevil is literally not mentioned in the whole rest of the movie, so it'd be like, whoa, okay, right, so we're doing this now. But yeah, it's interesting that they did not include it, because you think Ben Affleck is a pretty famous guy, they'd want to include that in the movie, just so they could put it in like a trailer or something. But nope, they did not even do that. That's where modern superheroes, they've learned. They include stuff in trailers which aren't even in the movie, like a Morbius, for instance. Yes.
Yeah, and if they would have done that, then they would have actually made 100 million, like I said they should.
Yeah.
All right, so Roshi, Master of the Hand, learns of the failed attempt and permits his son Kirigi to lead a new team of assassins to kill Elektra and return with Abby, referred to as the Treasure. Yep, that's so. I mean, it's good because we now actually get this is Chekhov's Asian ninja assassins in play, as it always should be.
Yeah, so it's funny referring to this 13-year-old girl, a 13-year-old girl as the Treasure. Like, I thought maybe,
it's not a good look.
Is this an Agent Epstein thing at first? But then I was like, no, of course it's not. She's just another ninja assassin like Elektra. But yeah, so Abby is the one who will bring balance to the Force, not Elektra, because that's the thing. It's kind of a twist at first, because you assume, the one that, because the prophecy thing at the beginning of the movie, okay, that there'll be this motherless woman who will, tip the balance in favor of good or evil, even though we don't know why the Hand are evil. So you assume it's Elektra. Oh, that's who the prophecy is talking about. But no, it's Abby. It's actually Abby. And the thing is, it's obvious that, so the movie, while you're watching the movie, what is not said explicitly is, Abby is the Treasure, until quite a bit later on in the movie. But
it's very obvious from the way they're talking about it.
Yeah, but it is obvious, and Wikipedia, it's obvious to Wikipedia, who's, as you read out, I took that from Wikipedia, and it's just like, the Treasure thing is Abby. That's it. So again, Wikipedia just does not care about keeping the suspense up, which I found funny, because I'm watching the movie and then I'm going through Wikipedia as well to include the stuff to censor you, and it just said, the Treasure is Abby. And again, you could tell, but yeah, Wikipedia doesn't even want to indulge the movie in like keeping up this, keeping up the suspense, or the supposed suspense, which I found quite funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, yeah, I get that, and that's there's just like, it's kind of like in Family Guy when Peter tapes over Citizen Kane, and he's just like, it was his sled from when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elektra tries to leave Abby and Mark with Stick, but he scolds her and tells her to protect them herself. She takes Mark and Abby to McCabe's house, but is followed by Kirigi, Typhoid, Stone, Kinku, and Tattoo, which are all really cool names. Bowman saw it not as an all-action spectacle, but as a story about a character learning about compassion. Okay, so let's talk brass tacks here. Tattoo is actually pretty cool. Like, the fact he has these tattoos of animals. And to be honest, like, Tattoo's the only one that really sticks out in my mind. Like, the other ones,
well, yeah, because
I just forget.
It's quite a unique thing, isn't it? Like, it's quite a unique superhero ability. I don't know how he found out about it, this superhero ability. Like, one day...
Yeah, so I guess he got the tattoo. Well, obviously he got the tattoos. But I guess, did he get the tattoos, or were they naturally occurring?
Well, no, I mean, I don't know why they'd be naturally occurring, to be honest with you. That'd be quite unusual.
Well, I just imagine the tattoos, magically appeared.
Okay, well, that'd be weird. But yeah, he just one day wakes up with
it's just like, oh, wow, cool.
a wolf tattoo on him. Like, what the fuck? Wow, last night was crazy.
He does it and he just gets a penis on him and he's like, I don't know what to do with this ability.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be it. Yeah, because that's really funny, because if any tattoo he gets, he can then make it a magical ability. What if someone did draw something embarrassing on him?
Yeah.
Then,
yeah. No, what if he got a tattoo of who was a hot actress in 2000? Oh, Angelina.
Jennifer Garner.
I said Angelina Jolie, but yeah, get a tattoo of Angelina Jolie and then bring her to life. Well, the powers you have with this ability, it's incredible.
Yeah, theoretically infinite.
Yes, indeed. So again, well, let's. Yeah, sorry. I love the character named Typhoid, by the way, because it sounds like typhus, and it's just like a really bad superhero name. She's the one who can do the kiss of death. She just breathes at you and then you die. But yeah, I don't know if that's similar to typhus.
It makes it seem like she has really bad breath, which is not a great look.
Maybe that's a symptom of typhus. So there you go. But yeah, let's talk about the arc of Elektra once again, because again she has to mentor this kid and she has to have sex with the dad. Okay, that's gonna heal herself. That's what Stick wants her to do, and she kind of reluctantly does it because she's actually good, which of course is always the case with these movies.
Obviously, we're not going to be out here like, movies are always good because they're dark. Darker is always better, because that's not true. But I think in this case, it's kind of I think there is a value to grit and having a character who's literally just like in this world that's otherwise quite dark and seems I don't know, kind of naive in that she's, or she doesn't behave in the way you'd expect someone who's been raised as an assassin in a very significant way. And clearly has killed a lot of people to behave. She's very willing to just be I love this guy. He's my baby boy, and I'm going to take care of him, and I'm not going to let anyone kill him.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't vibe tonally.
No, let's talk about the cool fight scene.
Elektra, Mark, and Abby flee through an underground exit to a forest while McCabe sacrifices himself. R.I.P.
He really slowed them down.
I know, yeah. I always love pointless sacrifices in movies. It's kind of when Kevin Costner dies in Man of Steel. Anyway, Elektra kills Stone, while Abby and Mark kill Kinku. As Elektra is distracted by the revelation Abby has martial arts skills, Typhoid gives Elektra the lesbian kiss of death. Stick and his ninjas arrive, forcing Kirigi, Typhoid, and Tattoo to retreat. Stick saves Elektra from death and takes them under his protection. The one bad thing about this is it kind of made me think about Twilight, with the fact that you've got these kind of sort of goth-like new metal team of baddies, and they all have their own unique abilities.
Yeah, and it was in a forest as well, which is very Twilight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the forest setting screams Twilight, and I actually did think of Twilight as well while watching this. Yeah, it did give out those vibes as well. But yeah, I just put twice this bitch has been saved from death. But yeah,
and again, the other thing, as far as we know, there is literally no reason to think that this would ever, basically no reason to think there's any limitations to this ability to bring her back to life indefinitely, apart from just that he's not nearby.
Did you think it was a twist that Abby had the surprising martial arts skills, by the way?
No, especially, well, the other thing is because they established at the beginning she's a thief and stuff, so I'm okay, obviously she's a thief.
Yeah.
That implies she has some kind of ability.
Yeah.
It's she's not, because normal young girls aren't just randomly thieves. That's something you learn if you come from a background, or basically you have some reason to want to, be breaking the law or doing something dodgy, essentially.
Yeah, and also, again, she's already been referred to as the treasure. We know that. The movie apparently thinks we don't know that, but we do know that. So, it's not that surprising that she can fight. Again, maybe Elektra is surprised, but yeah, it's not that great a twist. Okay, so let's get into that twist now.
In a shocking twist, which Wikipedia already gave away because it couldn't be bothered, Stick confirms that Abby is the Treasure, a martial arts prodigy whom the Hand seeks to use. And yeah, I suppose the other thing we should say is that this whole prophecy thing is it's obviously very played out. Decided, there's going to be a magical person who has the abilities to unite the forces.
Well, yeah, because it said at the start, she'll be motherless, which kind of sounds like in TikTok speak she's got no swag about her.
Yeah, I have heard that expression. Yeah.
So if you're saying, oh yeah, she will be motherless, like, oh yeah, she's not serving cunt, is she?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's so obvious that oh yeah, that the treasure is Abby. Wow, shocking. Also, the hand, like, they killed her mother. This is well known, apparently, certainly to Abby, and the hand want to be able to use her, like, and get her on their team. I don't know if Abby would be happy with that, to be honest.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, yeah, that's the thing, and that's something that like often happens with like basically the evil person wants to recruit the good guy, but not only are they evil, they're evil specifically in a way that's hurt the good guys. So obviously they're not going to go in for that.
Yeah. So yeah, let's. Okay. So, right, we're going to get into the prophecy a bit more now because obviously this next bit is interesting.
Wikipedia then states this: Elektra learns that she was a treasure herself, resulting in her mother becoming a casualty of the fight between the chaste and the hand. So her mum, she was trying to be chaste, and then she got a hand job.
Yeah, but when does Elektra learn that? Like, and it's such a weird term, by the way, a treasure. Again, it sounds so pedophilic, honestly, when you're talking about young girls.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, in finding out she's a treasure, we get a flashback to her as a young girl.
Yeah.
So clearly, basically, eventually they get so old and then they're no longer valuable.
Well, again, because she's a treasure, so do you have to kill the mum for then her to be a treasure? Like, because the prophecy.
Yeah, it's a bit weird saying, because when they said motherless daughter, I was thinking, okay, so this is going to be like a virgin, like a virgin birth thing, but kind of like almost not even a virgin birth, because obviously in a virgin birth you come out of your mum. Yeah, but like a virgin, like basically your dad jizzes and you just turn into a person. So that's the mum's not involved at all. That's what I assumed it was going to be.
You're fucking stupid then if you thought that, because I thought
that's what I was assuming. I was very disappointed to find out that's not how it's been done.
The implication is that the mother is already dead. Like, not the mother is artificially killed, because then how do you know that this girl is a treasure if the mother has not been killed yet? That's
a good point. It's kind of like you're it's almost not like self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's kind of like you're trying to force the prophecy. Exactly. Like it does. Yeah, you're right. That's a really good point. Why would they be like, oh, this person must be the treasure, even though one of the main defining things of someone being a treasure isn't true? Yeah. But because this person definitely is the treasure, we're going to kill her. Yeah. how many mums do you think they killed?
Yeah, I know.
And just being like vibes, and eventually it worked out.
Well, also the fucking legend that is stated at the start of the movie is like, oh yeah, one day there will come along a woman who is motherless, who tips the balance of the war. Okay, so Elektra was a treasure, Abby was a treasure, and this other girl who, the fucking typhus, whatever she is a treasure as well. So there have now been like 3 treasures in the past 30 years.
Yeah, treasures really aren't that special. Are
treasures come around once every 10 years. I thought the implication of this legend was, oh yeah, for thousands of years or at least hundreds, we'll be waiting for this person to tip the balance. But no, like just 3 come along in like, three come along. Like one comes along every fucking decade.
Like it's not that special anymore.
No, yeah, it's like presidents of the United States. You get one almost every decade.
Elektra astrally projects herself to a meeting with Kirigi, just like Rey and Kylo Ren, except with much less sexual tension, and challenges him to a fight. The winner claiming Abby for their own purpose. So this must suck to be Abby. to just be like, okay, so I'm gonna be. Also, like, if she's such a martial arts prodigy, why doesn't she just defend herself? It seems like the nature of her being really good
she's a kid though. That's like what's.
So she needs to be trained.
She fights with Elektra, and Elektra easily beats her because she is a kid. So that's fair. I don't care about that. But yeah, why does Elektra have the authority to like, sacrifice Abby? What about Stick? Does he know about this? Apparently not. Like, also, what about her dad? Like, it's just not a very good idea if you want to, be this mentor to Abby, which, she's trying to do. That's part of her character arc.
Yeah, to treat her like she's your property.
Well, yeah, it's a very bad idea, to have this secret bet on whether, this kid gets to be free or becomes part of the hand. That's not a good thing to do if you're trying to become this mentor to this kid, if you're trying to reform yourself to help this kid. So yeah, it's a very stupid thing that she does. And yeah, she deserves to die for it, honestly.
I would agree. She does. She's a bad person. And even though in her dying, she would ultimately lose the competition, thus causing Abby to become the mentor of the other person, that's better. Because to be fair, we haven't seen the other person do anything that bad. I mean, they've killed some people, but the people they've killed, they've all been like assassins, right? So who knows who the bad guy is. Elektra returns to her childhood home, which we saw in Daredevil, to face Kirigi and I feel like I've said his name slightly different every single time. Now, my understanding is that officially Japanese, you're not supposed to emphasize any of the syllables. So I guess his name would be Kirigi. Oh, that's whatever, I don't know, Japanese, who cares? And realizes that the horned demon who killed her mother was actually Kirigi, which is obvious because, of course, it wasn't a horned demon who killed her mother. For goodness sake. And that's all. That for goodness sake is something you added there, Luke.
Yeah. So she psychologically created this demon, apparently.
Yeah, because she couldn't handle the fact. She didn't want to be racist,
yeah,
so...
But isn't it obvious it wasn't a demon? And surely since... Kirigi has this line where he says, "Let's fight where it all began." Should she not realise, oh yeah, maybe Kirigi knows that my mother was killed, and therefore maybe he killed my mother? Considering, yeah, he's the evil guy. Who's trying to create these treasures, and obviously that applies to me as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, to me, like, that line where he's like, "Let's fight where it all began," to me that sounded, like, so stupid anyway. Like, it seems like one of those lines that's, like, someone would say, like, I was like, it was the biggest moment where I was like, people don't talk like that. Like, no one's like that, like, "Let's do this where it all began." Yeah, it just sounded so unnatural.
No, but he's like an ancient, like, well, apparently he's ancient.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't have to talk like a normal person.
Yeah, he's like this weird ninja, So, yeah, it's epic,
I mean, it is pretty cool being a ninja if you're a real one. Elektra is defeated by Kirigi after deciding to fight him in a room full of white tablecloths for some reason. Yeah, this is when like they all turn into ghosts.
Yeah.
This is when I was at max zoning out. Like during a lot of the action scenes, I was just like, okay,
yeah.
cool.
Well, we haven't really talked about the action scenes, but they are quite shit, honestly.
Yeah, like it's too much. I feel like it was back in the day where action just meant like a lot of rapid cuts, like a lot of.
Well, certainly when you're doing like a martial arts movie, which is like shitty. So that's what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, so the problem is because like, what if someone isn't very talented at fighting? You just got to trick it.
Well, yeah. So Elektra, well, why did she not move to a different room? Because Kirigi has disguised himself with all these tablecloths, so just move to a different room. That's what I do. But here's the thing, right? Is the movie being quite smart here? Because okay, it's the tablecloths. They kind of look like Kirigi, don't they? Well, the outfit that he's wearing. And she's like, Elektra is slashing at all of them, and she's not getting them, they're still there. And is that a metaphor for how she can't move on from her mother's death? Because Kirigi killed her mother,
No, it's not.
So no, it could be. So
you're wrong.
So Kirigi is represented with all these tablecloths, and she's slashing. She can't move past it. She can't kill them. She can't get rid of the effect that Kirigi has had on her. Basically, is the movie kind of being smart here? Because I think it might be. I think there's a good chance.
Yeah, I think it would make sense that like if this is supposed to be about her moving on from it, which it is, then they would think to be like oh, let's have a moment where she confronts her demons. I mean, obviously, like literally, she kind of confronts her demons.
Yeah.
Wow, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and then
that's not subtle.
That's shit because it's so literal. But yeah, like that is maybe not so literal, and the movie could be being smart. But yeah,
like that is slightly more. What's the word? Subtle.
Yeah, the whole thing of you got to move on from your mum's death to heal yourselves, so you can be a good person. And this is, she's slashing at all these tablecloths, and that shows what she's been doing all her life. She's been unable to move on from her mother's death.
Abby arrives and engages Kirigi long enough for Elektra to recuperate. Elektra and Abby escape and hide in a hedge maze. Elektra kills Tattoo and engages Kirigi a second time and kills him. Typhoid poisons and kills Abby before Elektra throws her sai at Typhoid, killing her. So that's a weapon, of course, that she has. That is it's her classic weapon that she has. It's a weird shape.
Yeah.
It's like a trident.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of.
I didn't know it was called a sai.
No, yeah, because I can tell because you struggled. Yeah.
I was like, throws her said. Like I was like, is that like a typo?
Yeah, it's kind of shit how she manages to kill Kirigi because she's just like, oh yeah, now I can do it. Now I'll have a couple of flashbacks and that'll get me into the zone and I'll just kill him. So, okay, that's great.
It really is it's 99% about like, do you believe you can?
The power of will. That's what it's all about. Yeah, and yeah, of course there are multiple treasures as well because fucking typhus is also a treasure. So yeah, the whole prophecy thing is just shit as well. That is undercut at the end, of course. And yeah, she saves Abby, which we will get to now.
Elektra tries to wake Abby, calms herself, lets go of all her rage, and resurrects her using Kimaguri, even though we've never seen her try to do that before. Well, this is like a Rey from Rise of Skywalker, right? Like she learns to do this incredibly rare power. So this means there's even less stakes now because now she can heal people.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like Abby is dying. It makes sense that because apparently this Kimagiri thing where you can resurrect people who have died, that exists in this world. But
I genuinely thought you were going to say that exists in real life. I was like, this thing that like you can resurrect, but that exists. I'm like, Luke.
If you were a weeb, maybe you'd agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah. But okay, so again, it would make sense that part of her character arc is you can do all this fighting, Elektra. This is Stick who would be talking to her. You can do all this fighting, but you can't do Kimaguri because you need to be
because you're not compassionate.
Yeah, well, you need to be calm. You need to let go of your rage. You need no internal struggle. And that is the real test of, becoming this true ninja warrior or whatever the fuck Stick is, this master guy. If you want to get to my level, you need to be able to do that. But the fact that you can't do this Kimagiri thing proves you're not at this level. If you establish that throughout the movie, that, oh, she can't do this thing, and if she did do this thing, it would prove she's like healed herself as a character, and then she does it to save Abby at the end. That would, that would be a payoff, wouldn't it? Include some like lines of dialogue, maybe you'd have her try to do it at one stage or whatever. It wouldn't be hard to input that into the movie, but the movie, again, it just completely forgets about that, or just doesn't consider that as an idea. And so in the end, it just all of a sudden she's resurrected Abby, even though we've never seen her even try to do this before, and it's kind of been forgotten about, to be honest. You can also see into the future, which she does she does that a few times, but this thing again, which you need to be calm, you need to let go of all your rage apparently to do this, which is fine. That's a fine stipulation to try this Kimagiri thing. Again, just have it so that it's the end of her character arc, and you've established that throughout the movie. And does not do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, because that's the thing, I definitely can think of like movies where like, and it makes sense because you can combine the character climax with the like action climax by having it be like there's a lesson the character needs to learn, and then they learn that lesson, and that allows them to do the big thing they need to do. I think that's like a common trope because it works.
Oh yeah,
but they didn't even like really manage to do it properly here.
It's a trope and it works, and it would kind of make sense, and I'd be okay with it, obviously, because it's my idea. So yeah, well, I would be okay with it. But yeah, again, she sees like a vision of her younger self who says, "I'm not scared anymore," which just a bit on the nose, to be honest, but we get it. But yeah, again, the movie is attempting to do this character arc, which is the whole basis for this movie, as we've talked about. But yeah, it just does not do that very, very well, and even at the end, it kind of flops it.
Yeah, you're right. And it's funny because this movie like approaches being competent, but then it's kind of like a very thin skeleton of a good movie with a whole load of crap added onto it. Anyway, Elektra tells Abby to live a normal life and that they have each other. That they each for some reason they used the word each twice, freaked me out. Elektra tells Abby to live a normal life and that they each have each other's life back. Elektra leaves, hoping that Abby will not grow up to be like her. Stick appears and points out that Elektra did not turn out so bad. Elektra bows to Stick to thank him. Yeah, so it's about family, and that's what makes it so special.
Thank you. Thank you for telling me to kill this kid, but you also realised I was too good a person to not do it. So thanks for that. Like, oh yeah, she has saved this kid, so she has saved herself. So there you go. That's it, and that's not bad. That's good. Again, it's just leading up to that point. It's all quite shit. So yeah, let's conclude now. Michael, you go first.
So for me, the like you kind of said, this movie, it's not like so bad. It's not terrible in the way that an entertainingly terrible movie is. But of course, the problem is that it kind of just makes it boring because it literally just has the bare bones of a movie that's approaching being entertaining, but then it's not actually entertaining because it kind of feels soulless, which maybe is a bit too mean, but it's just like the problem is because of the areas where the movie's competent, it reminds you that they were kind of just doing the bare minimum. Like it's almost like in a way, like if it was so wacky and just did some crazy stuff, that would make it more respectable. Whereas the fact that they kind of hit on some good points means it's like, okay, so they knew what to do, they just didn't really care enough to do it super well. So for that reason, I'm honestly feeling like a low 3.
Okay.
Because yeah, it's pretty negative, but like the issue is the film is very boring. And not like it doesn't really try anything super worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.5, which is less than Daredevil, because Daredevil was a 4. And I was like, they're about the same in terms of quality, but Daredevil is a bit more fun. It has those fucking Evanescence scenes. Like
yes.
if you did like a watch along of this movie Elektra, it would not be that fun. And so therefore, there's more potential, I guess, with this movie. But if you don't, try, if you don't, do anything which would actually elevate it to, a decent character study of Elektra, if you don't do that, then it'll fall flat on its face, and it'll also be quite boring. So yeah, therefore, a 3.5 is fair. Let's do some receipts, Michael.
Yes.
So we are, of course, guessed what the new F1 movie was going to get on Rotten Tomatoes. You guessed it would get 87%. I guessed 78%. It is at 83%. So you are closer by 1. You are 4 off, I am 5 off. So
how exciting.
The gap is down to 6 because you have 41 points, I have 35 points. Of course, the points that you accumulate are, the less points are better. So yeah, you're on 41, I'm on 35, and it's time to predict what we think the new Superman movie will get on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, 3, 2, 1, 90.
88.
Okay,
pretty close. Yeah.
You went for 88, I went for 90. It is going to be around there, I would suspect. So yeah, nothing much is going to change, and it'll still be close between me and you. What are we doing next week, Michael?
Next week we're reviewing, well, you kind of already hinted at it, or maybe even explicitly said it, Fantastic Four.
Yes, the 2005 version, of course, because of the release of Fantastic Four: The First Steps. A trailer came out of that the other day, and it did not look that great, honestly. But
yeah, oh, good. I'll bear that in mind when we predict for that one.
Well, you can watch the trailer. You can do that yourself. If you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for listening to our review of Elektra. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
Luke, thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.